from you, man. They're all synonymous with one another. And now it's being said by Angelo Cataldi that the relationship, Brandon Graham said that A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts have a bad relationship. How you doing? Xander and I didn't say that. Let's bring our friend, the co-host, and we will see him Sunday in the pre, halftime, and post-game, and the post-post, our good friend, Big Xander Krause.
What's up, Big Silz?
I don't know.
Sorry, I'm out of my main spot today, so I got a little different setup. Can you hear me all right?
I got you crystal clear. Can you hear everything that has been said the last couple hours here?
We're not turning into the Philadelphia Cowboys, are we? With an owner that has his hand on every part of the team at every single turn. Brandon Graham can't even speak his mind on a radio show down in South Philly at Chickies and Pete's. By the way, the owner of Chickies and Pete's goes to the same church as I go to. I might have to stop Pete in the church and ask him what's going on.
How about this, Andrew? Whether or not the relationship between the two guys is fractured or what have you, what level it is, isn't it go into exactly what's happened this week about an owner that parachutes in and makes these rash decisions about, and Philly says that I misread it.
Well, there's another prominent owner decision in the right now in the news. Why do you think they're not going for the record with Saquon Barkley? You don't think that's Nick Sirianni, do you?
Absolutely not.
You don't think that's the players, do you?
No, I think that's.
I don't even think that's Howie Roseman.
No, I don't either.
That's the owner. The owner's got his hand on that.
Yes, the owner has his hand on that.
I'm telling you, he's Jerry Jones light in a different way.
What'd you make of what Angelo said?
About Eskin?
About anything. About the Eskin and
I've done enough talking about
how it all started with Brandon Graham, Jalen Hurts, and A.J. Brown. That's the beginning of the story. And then the backstory is he was just trying to get Brandon Graham out of there. He wasn't trying to do anything stupid. And once again, there was your Brian Johnson.
What are you misreading, Phil? You misrepresenting our man, Philly 500?
Am I? Is that what he's saying?
He says he misread. Now he misread what I wrote about misreading my comment.
Hey, Philly 500. Let me ask you this. Me misreading something? You think that could possibly happen?
Reading comprehension is not one of the pillars of the National Football Show. Okay, reading comprehension is not one of the 5 Sirianni pillars here on the show. But
you're a mean one, Big Silz.
You don't think there's anything? I don't know, because you don't think there's any reason that Jalen Hurts is out for an extended period. This is now 12 days, still not out of the protocol today, was not present at practice. Will Shipley suffered a concussion in the same game as Jalen Hurts, and he has been back and practicing all week. I don't know. I mean, if the relationship is bad or fractured to the point where the owner felt the need to step in the middle of a Brandon Graham interview, potentially there's something deeper. I don't know. You know the old saying, Silz, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
Well, we got smoke. We got a lot of smoke. So if you want to tell me there's no fire, okay, but I'm going to go and check that thing out and make sure there's no fire that's burning the house down.
So when those press conferences happen and they put those people in front of John and everyone, and Nick talks like that I had to make a decision that was best for the team. Come on, man. One of those people, now look, people have to do their jobs and they have to have accessibility. But doesn't it get to a point before people start calling the Eagles out on overstepping their bounds, on people actually doing the right job, not a job, doing the right job? Nobody even followed up with the Barkley question when Barkley even said, I quoted him, he was disappointed that he couldn't go for the record.
He was so obviously
disappointed. That question.
He was so obviously disappointed too. And then they tried to make it seem like he wasn't that disappointed. And I'm like, he was clearly disappointed. He clearly wants to go for the record. And then they're toying with you now, trying to, hey, he's out there practicing today. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of that whole situation, but you're not wrong, man. You're not wrong. And Bob Brown's been pointing it out in the chat. Jeffrey Lurie has a Hollywood background. Jeffrey Lurie is a movie guy. That's where he made his money, in movies. You know how those people act in Hollywood.
yes.
You know how they control the narrative and the media and everybody that reports. I mean, I think Bob Brown's brought up some good points in the chat about it, if anybody has looked at that. But I don't know. I think we got our own version of Jerry Jones here. It just looks a little different,
Yeah.
But just because a wolf is wearing
Howie.
doesn't mean it's not a wolf.
Because he's got Howie.
Yeah, but I don't even think this is Howie.
Would you? No. I think the reason that you know what? I think I'm going to have, by the way, T, we're going to read everybody's supers, I promise. Do you agree that Howie Roseman is the most important person in that organization right now?
I thought that was a good comment by Angela. I think he's right. And you're seeing it. I mean, even all of your commentary on Jalen Hurts, and I think any real Eagle fan that has watched this team for a long time and doesn't want just pie in the sky all the time. Oh, we're the greatest team on earth and we have no issues. Realizes that, our offense is built with so much talent. You're really not getting the right bang for your buck in that offense. I mean, 3,900 passing yards last year, 3,800. Now you're down 2,900 this year with Jalen Hurts. It doesn't look like it should look. And the reason we're winning so many games is because our roster is so good. And even last year, we won a lot of games. Even in 22, we won a lot of games. They added Saquon Barkley to that offense. And look at how much ground he made up for the deficiencies on the offense. So Howie Roseman has done an insane job. And the other MVP this year is Vic Fangio, because Howie didn't really give him the greatest roster. I mean, he gave him good players. He drafted well. Got to give Howie credit for that. I was hard on him with the Georgia picks. They're all turning the corner now. Even Jordan Davis a little bit. I know he's not a first rounder, but he looks like a guy he's not a nothing burger on the field.
No, I'm not saying he's not a first rounder. I think he's down at the bottom of the first round. I'm not saying that. I just don't think he's the 13th pick. And I think that's up in the area more where you're talking about a Fletcher Cox kind of talent up there at that point. And more so where I projected him around.
Here's the best testament to Howie in the draft. You lost 2 Hall of Fame players in the last year. You lost Fletcher Cox and you lost Jason Kelce. You had 2 Pro Bowlers this year that were the replacements for those 2 players. Other organizations don't do that. That doesn't happen everywhere. You don't let go of a Hall of Fame player and talk about the offensive line got better. You don't get rid of a Hall of Fame defensive tackle that you won a Super Bowl with and say, our defensive tackle room might be better. We might have a better guy. That's drafting. That's Howie Roseman right there. And he deserves a lot of credit for it. I think Angela's right, man. He's the most valuable guy in the room right now because it's not the quarterback, right? I mean, most teams, it's the quarterback. Yeah. It's not really the quarterback in Philly. And I don't say that to knock on Jalen. It's just, this thing is a well-oiled machine. It's not just Jalen. So it's got to be Howie. It's got to be
How
Howie.
about this, man? I mean, as good as Brett Veach is in Kansas City, he's one of the top general managers. The guy in that building is Mahomes. There's no getting around it. It's Mahomes, then probably Andy.
Yeah, but and then Brett Veach. Veach and Andy have done a good job too. But I don't know. Can I ask you, let's just say for a second, Dan Campbell was our coach. And I just like Dan Campbell. I'm sorry, everybody. You're going to have to get over the fact that I like Dan Campbell.
I get why you like him.
If he was our coach, because everybody talks about the Sirianni win percentage and everything like that. If Dan Campbell was our coach since Sirianni was hired here, what do you think his win percentage would be? Or how many games do you think he'd have won? You think he'd have the same level of success? What if Mike Tomlin was our coach? Forget Dan Campbell. What if Andy Reid was our coach? Like anybody, even a Kevin O'Connell or somebody lesser.
Or LaFleur.
Right. How many games would we win?
Be right there.
You could we'd be in the same room? That shows you that Howie Roseman is the MVP of the team. In fact, Silz, you might have to pump the brakes on some of your Howie slander. He might your slander on some other people isn't going anywhere, but Howie might have shut Big Silz up.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Might have shut you up.
Here, possibly. And I'll say this. Angelo brought it up. You might have to make him the highest paid general manager in all of sports not to take that Jets gig. What would stop him from doing this, Xander? Hey, I want to go to the Jets and I want to have complete say and I want to be the highest paid GM in all of sports and I have complete autonomy. Even if you want to give me some equity in the team.
The Jets. That organization sucks, dude.
Dude.
Listen, I'm not the biggest
money talks.
I'm not the biggest fan in the world, but Jeffrey does. Good.
Money talks.
Money does talk, but don't you think Howie's smart enough to know he won't be as successful in that organization?
What says you? Why do you say that?
Well, because the way it's explained to me is that a lot of what Howie's able to do in manipulating of the cap is largely because Jeffrey Lurie is willing to spend the money up front to convert things into signing bonuses, to free up cap space, kick the can down the road when ultimately that money is going to become due someday. And Jeffrey Lurie is flexible with that money where other owners, I mean, just owners even like in Vegas or in Cincinnati to be, on the way other side of the spectrum, they can't do that at all.
No,
I view the Jets more like that than I do like the Eagles. And I will give Jeffrey Lurie some credit for that. He does open up the checkbook. And that's why the biggest cap hit we have with Jalen Hurts is $47 million. Meanwhile, the Cowboys have a $90 million cap hit coming up with Dak Prescott. I mean, we're not operating in the same ballpark. And I know how he's good at it, but some of that definitely goes to the owner. And if he goes to the Jets, he's not going to get any of that,
No, he would have to demand that.
He would have to demand it. But, again, demanding a personnel guy is different than demanding, hey, I need you to be flexible with $500 million a year. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different of a ball game here.
Okay. No. Hey, I get it. I totally get it. I want to do something with you here before we get in the next hour here, before we get the legendary Philly Godfather. Let me ask you this. Here's my year-enders. I'm going to ask you this here. My year-enders for the Eagles. They're not playing this week, starter, so. Who is your defensive MVP this year in 2024?
Is it as easy as just saying Zach Bond, or do you think Jalen Carter has a bigger effect on that overall defense? I think Jalen Carter could be one of the reasons Zach Bond is so successful.
Okay. I'll give you mine. I think Jalen Carter is your MVP.
Okay. I'm good with either one. Again, another situation. You take him, I'll take the other. But I'm going to go Zach Bond because Jalen Carter, as good as he is, in a way, we expected this. I know it's crazy what he's doing and how good he actually is, but we almost expect, like, this was the scouting report on him. He's got some off the field issues, but if you get him on the field, he is an insane talent. And that's what he's been. That's what he's been in Philly. And to his credit, I do think he's maturing a little bit. You listen to some of his interviews. I listen to him when they talk to him in the locker room. He seems like he's really matured as a man, as a player. Even listening to him yesterday speak on making the Pro Bowl for the first time and what it meant to like his family. I thought that was pretty good to listen to.
Wait, I thought the Pro Bowl didn't matter.
Oh, Pro Bowl, Matt. You could see it in the players' face, man. They're, how important it is for them to make the Pro Bowl. So don't let anybody tell you the Pro Bowl is not important. Maybe it's a flawed system. Maybe the game stinks.
It is.
But making it still matters for these guys. By the way, a lot of them have incentives tied to it. As Zach Bond talked about, he laughed at his incentive when he signed it. But again, back to the point, though. Back to the point. Jalen Carter, we expect this. Zach Bond, we didn't even do an emergency recap on you. We recap everything. A leaf falls at the NovaCare complex, and we make a video on JAKIB. They signed Zach Bond. We didn't even make a video. That's what the expectation was for this guy. This guy was maybe a practice squad special team player, a bottom roster guy. Now he's in the room for Defensive Player of the Year, not just Pro Bowl. That's pretty insane what he's doing.
Oh, I was goofing on him. I totally was.
Yeah, we were.
Okay. Look at now Jeff McCain advancing our story. Look at this.
I saw Jeff McCain. He put that out before us. I bet you he doesn't have the information you gave out on your show.
Was forcibly grabbed a female Odyssey employee during the altercation. Sources told the Inquirer. Oh my God. Okay. I'm not a reporter, so I don't pretend to be, nor do I care, but these people over there.
I do laugh.
Hey, Jeff, do me a favor. Quote it, will you please?
I do laugh at how many reporters there are in the city and how many people are covering the sport. This is one of the biggest media contingencies in all of sports. Most people, I don't know if people realize that there's that many people, there's that many media member, and nobody really prods, nobody really goes for the real information.
No,
And even me as a fan, like I have a desire to know the deep nature of what's
I
going
won't
on, not
lie to
just,
you.
oh hey, we're 13-3, woo, we
Hey,
might win the Super Bowl. Like,
I
I don't
won't
think that
lie to you,
exists
man.
anymore.
I won't lie to you. John is one of the very few guys that phrases things in that room very well to get more questions out of things than what more people do. And John's critical
Well,
of
listen,
them.
I admire
I do
John, and
too.
I admire his hard work, and I admire his commitment to what he does here on Jacob. He's a great
Partner.
guy to have on our network. I love him,
He's a great
but
partner.
I'll just say there's questions that are left on the table by everybody in that room, not just John. And I do think that there is a little bit of an environment at the
Yes,
NovaCare complex that
set
if
up by
you
Bob.
go out of line too far, if you
Bet.
step here, if you
Yep.
ask this question, if you push back on this narrative too much,
You
you
bet.
know, you're going to get your key fob stolen.
That's right.
And we've had a conversation here at Jacob on the phone with somebody about that very topic, and many people, Jacob is not well liked in the NovaCare complex. Bob Lang has said he will not credential anybody from Jacob Media because he doesn't like the narratives on our shows. Now, you can say that's the show, or you can say that's them just trying to control everything. They're entitled to be able to do that. They're allowed to do what they want. But I will say it has created an environment where I think you have timid journalists. And again, I don't say this to knock on journalists, because when your paycheck is tied to something and feeding your family is tied to something, you're gonna act in the best interest of your family, as I
Absolutely.
expect you would, as I
And
would, and as I expect everybody
I
in the
don't have
chat
a
would.
problem with that.
Exactly. I don't either. So I'm not saying this to come at reporters or anything,
Nope.
but there
Nope.
certainly seems like the environment inside the room um, is not a good one. Is not a good one.
Angelo
And
started a firestorm today.
he probably did. He probably
Okay.
did. Now I was
He
I was coming on this show again. I'm out at my main location, so I'm working on a second computer. This breaks. I'm like, oh my God, Silly, you got to give me an extra 10 minutes here. I gotta pull this clip. So a little producing on the fly is always fun, Big Sills.
all right. Let me ask you another one here. Now I've made these kind of silly-wise these questions for you.
Okay, I like that. I like a little Silly-ization.
Who is the
I'll push
offensive
back with truth, justice, and the big Z way.
Who is the offensive MVP, the O-line or Barkley?
I'm going to go Saquon, because the offensive line's tremendous and he wouldn't do this without them. But at the end of the day, he's the one toting the rock. And we had two backs here that got 12 and 1,300 yards, or 1,300 and 1,200 respectively. And they were both good players. But you see what a game changer Saquon Barkley is. You see what his home run capabilities can give you. You see how much of a different level of player he is than guys like we had with Miles Sanders and DeAndre Swift. And don't get me wrong, I love DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift went to the same high school as me. We were there at the exact same time. I have a great picture of us together at the state championship in the prep one. I'm friendly with him. I know him. I love him. Saquon Barkley is in rarefied air when it comes to talent at the running back position. Rarefied air. And because of that, I'm going to give him the MVP.
He did go to a Super Bowl with Miles Sanders.
He did? Yeah. And then we sat him because he couldn't hold on to the ball in the first play of the game.
Well, okay, that's irrelevant. I'm talking about you got to the Super Bowl with Miles Sanders because of that O-line.
Well, again, that's a credit to Howie Roseman.
The
O-line. Oh, you're talking specifically.
the O-line. When we not agree, the O-line's been pretty dominant the last 3 years.
I hope you don't think I'm trying to take away from the O-line and giving Barkley.
No.
No, I'm not.
No, I'm gonna go Barkley too, but I'll tell you what, that O-line is the best I've seen since the Cowboy lines.
Yeah, and you see it because even guys like Kenny Pickett and Tanner McKee can now operate back there. Do you think that the narrative or this, and I subscribe to this as well. So I'm challenging myself on this question, but Saquon Barkley ran for 160 last week. Many times we were told that Jalen Hurts helped a lot. I believe he did.
Oh,
I
I do
believe
too.
Jalen did help.
I
But
do.
Saquon did run for 160. Does that kind of show you how dominant really that offensive line is and how they are the number
Yeah.
one reason that Saquon's able to do what he's done?
Yeah, I think the passing game kind of neutralized the fact that there was no running coming from the quarterback because they were so efficient in throwing the ball. There were very few drop footballs that were there on Sunday last week against the Cowboys here. All right, let me ask you this one. Who's the Eagle Rookie of the Year?
Rookie of the year? Give me Q. Give me Q.
I'm going to Gene.
I knew you would. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with either. They're both great. I think we nailed on the first two picks of the draft, which is great. Both defensive backs. Doesn't happen often in Philly. It's a great time. It's a great time to get those guys in the draft. Quinion looks great. I will say the last 2 weeks concerned me a little bit more than others. You know, you go 15 weeks, you don't give up one touchdown, and then 2 straight weeks you're targeted. You know, and you give up touchdowns in those games. Also, a couple more throws that were missed last week by Cooper Rush, where Quinion was beat. And remember, they weren't playing against CeeDee Lamb. You know, you were playing against lesser guys, and then he was still open. So, you know, Quinion had a little bit of a regression last couple of weeks, but nothing too concerning. I'm going to give him the Rookie of the Year.
Who's the most improved Eagle?
Nolan Smith. Or Nakobe Dean. Is that the other one? I'm going to go Nolan. I'm going to go Nolan because I like the premium edge position more. And I think Zach Bond has helped Nakobe Dean a lot. I'm going to say Nolan because I went with that first, and I'm going to go with my gut.
Nolan, Dean. I got to go Dean. I can't believe that he's had a good year like that. And last week he was felt. Him not being out there. He was felt not being out there. Okay. I mean, do you not agree?
I do.
Okay.
I mean, you know, what did Rico Dowdle have last week? I think he was over 100 yards.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. So the run defense definitely got a little bit worse. And I've always said Nakobe Dean's a great downhill player. So he's, you know, he plugs the holes on the defensive line quick, you know, versus Oren Burks was kind of letting it come to him, you know, a little different style there.
Who was the assistant coach of the year, Jeff Stoutland or Vic Fangio?
Vic Fangio. 31st.
You have a shot at the all-time rushing record, and you're on the cusp of doing NFL history. And
okay, well here, let me give you a better.
Hold on. Your quarterback is 2903, and you got 13 wins.
Okay, we've always had a good running attack though. So the same reason that Andy Reid won't get Coach of the Year this year and Kevin O'Connell will because he's doing it with the backup is the same reason that Vic Fangio is the better answer here because he took a 31st defense and turned it into a first defense. Jeff Stoutland got a historic Hall of Fame level talent player at running back, and to his credit, he capitalized and took advantage of it. But we've become accustomed to having a great running game in Philly. We've become accustomed to having a great offensive line in Philly. I didn't expect this defense to be the number one overall defense in the NFL. I didn't expect us to have Pro Bowl players on defense. I didn't expect Zach Bond to be an all-pro linebacker. I didn't even expect C.J. Gardner-Johnson to tie his 2022 number with 6 interceptions this year. I mean, Reed Blankenship's a player. Nakobe Dean, Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter's elevating. Josh Sweat's having a great year. Everybody's playing better in Vic Fangio's defense. Now, I don't know if that's coaching. I don't know if that's the way he's related to them. I don't know if it's teaching. Maybe it's teaching these guys where to play and how to play his scheme. Whatever he's doing, it's working. And I'm going to give him the nod there.
I agree. I even though Jeff has done a sensational job with that offensive line, making Becton better, enhancing where they are by having a more talented back there. He's been to a Super Bowl, and now he's got another win. And he is just making great players get this, you are an O-line factory. And there is no doubt about that. It's one of the best O-line factories I've ever seen. Xander, let's get to the Super Chats before the Philly Godfather joins us here. Let's see. We got a bunch of them too here. We appreciate everybody. By the way, guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button.
Anthony Wilson says, answer me this. Before the controversy, AJ and Jalen have been on video praying together before every game. Does that look like they hate each other? Anthony, we already
What's
answered
that got to do? What's that got to do with Target?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it too, Anthony. It's great that they do that, but don't you think that's a little bit different than what someone's relationship is outside the lines?
How about this? Do you think people have different business relationships than they do personal relationships?
Well, also this too, though.
Oh, man.
Isn't there a world that exists where their relationship might be fractured and it might not matter at all?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's business. Go out there and get him the ball. AJ Brown's one of the best receivers in football. Just throw him the ball, dude. I don't really give a shit what you think of him. Just throw him the damn ball. You know what I'm saying?
Not everything has to be perfect here, man.
Yeah, I agree. Holy crap. Look at T-Bone. T-Bone, thank you, bro. That's really cool, man.
Thank you, T-Bone.
T-Bone dropped a 50, a 20, a 20. T-Bone, that's love, man. Thank you so much, brother. That's really cool of you.
Thank you on my birthday, T-Bone.
Wow, look at that. A big Silz birthday gift. T-Bone says, a Super Bowl win will mean very little now. I'm so pissed. All drama now and past years, all on Lurie. Pressure Lurie to sell. Boycott every way, a must. Only thing a lib gets is a punch in the mouth or they won't change. I'm a vet and I will fight to rid Commie Lurie. Wow.
How about this, T-Bone? Don't ever let anybody take your passion and your love for something that you have away from you.
And thank you for your service to our nation, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But T-Bone, don't let anybody do that, man. I mean, if you love your Eagles, remember something. Jeffrey Lurie's not an Eagle. You are. You were born and raised in that situation where you love that team like that. You're an Eagle, man. The owner is he's just an owner. That's all he is. He's not an Eagle, man. The fans are more Eagles. Take a look at those people who sit at Lincoln Financial every day, the way they cheer, the way they have great passion for that team. Man, I have great respect for it. I do.
Yeah, me too. T-Bone, good stuff, brother. Thank you, man. T-Bone again. Little Jeffrey Lurie, right on, Z. Look, Lurie ain't going anywhere unless forced. What will fans do? How far will they go? Picket Eagles office and stadium. Don't buy merch. No show games. Give up tickets. We must force change. T-Bone, I love you, but I will say this. It's not happening, man. This city loves this team too much. This team is winning too many games right now. You're talking about a small fraction of people who would ever think this way, and I think even 1-2% might be high. I mean, I don't disagree entirely with what you're saying because I do think Jeffrey Lurie does things he doesn't need to do. Prime example, Saquon Barkley resting this week in week 18, but I don't think it's happening.
Hey, you know things are going well when you get a how you doing from Big Joe.
Oh, man. Daniel Belfield. What up, Daniel? He says, you're a mean one. Mr. Silz. Your Grinch song was one of the best shows at Christmas. He started the show with a freaking
Thank
Christmas.
you, Daniel.
He says, Real Zeal, what's up, my guy? Thank you, brother. He says, happy birthday, Big Silz. Whenever you say cross-dressing broad, a tranny gets his or her Eagles wings. Oh, my goodness. Zeal, you do get credit for dubbing that name. I'll give you that.
Yes, you do.
Lawrence Gray says, Jalen Hurts is more like Joel Embiid.
No way. No way. Nobody's that bad. The guy doesn't. No way. I do not. Joel Embiid does not.
Learning from Lurie. He's learning from Lurie. So, if anything, he would be doing it in the shadows, similar to how Jeffrey Lurie operates.
No way. I don't put Jalen in that room.
No, me neither. Philly 500 says, Big Silz, you misread what I said. What I said was, I don't like that they censor guys, and they do, and I know they listen to what is said, and you misread them the wrong way. Sorry about that, Philly 500.
Hey, Philly, what gave that away that I misread something?
Again, reading comprehension is not one of our core pillars here.
Remember, when you get degrees at the University of Miami and Alabama, they're the ones that fold in your wallet.
Here we go. T-Bone checks in. T-Bone says, sorry, I'm getting political. T-Bone, you dropped $20. You can do whatever the hell you want, my guy. Absolutely. He said, this shit would never happen with a conservative owner. Liberalism and any other ism is a pathological disease. We have seen many asinine events since Lurie, and it won't be better till Lurie is gone. Wow. Oh, T-Bone, man. Not happy.
Not happy at all. Thank you again, my friend. You're
a disgruntled Eagle fan. T-Bone, I love you, brother. I appreciate you being here, man. It means a lot to me. Mikey Shred says, I can love you as a person, but I can hate you as a teammate. For 60 minutes a week, we are not friends. We are teammates and business partners.
That's right.
Yeah, it's like me and Silz. 60 minutes a day, I want to beat this guy's head in. Brian Pumper says, Jalen Hurts is the Angel Reese of football. Mid skills and all height. Oh, my God.
Hey, Brian. I won't lie, man. She's a smoke show, though, man. I won't lie, man. I like me some Angel Reese, man. I
Teach
do.
his own. Teach his own. Mad Dio says it's speculation to Lurie's reason to get BG off air. If BG was speaking without knowledge, is not lying. Otherwise, Silz is lying all the time.
Oh my God. Yeah. So wait, either this happened, either the relationship is fractured, Angelo's lying, or BG's lying. But we now know this: the owner parachuted in and had him taken off the air. Whoa! How you doing?
A future Eagle Hall of Famer.
Hey, wait a minute. And the current Walter Payton Man of the Year nomination.
Right.
Okay.
By the way, they're one of the biggest reasons we have a Super Bowl ring. Brandon Graham, strip sacking the GOAT Tom Brady, who many will say, oh, he wasn't going to go and score. Well, he did put up 500 yards already in that game. So I'm thinking he was going to go score if Brandon Graham didn't strip sack him and seal the game for us so we could live in NFL immortality. We passed up another option or another potential to have that in our cap this year. And flexing and stepping doesn't care. Come on, flex.
Going. All right. Are we done?
That's it. Wait, let me check. I think I got them all.
Good.
The people have been showing out today, haven't they?
Oh, yeah. No. Appreciate it for Big Sil's birthday. Absolutely.
I always laugh at the people who say you have a burner account. I'm like, if you knew how much this guy, he barely knows how to send a text message.
No shit. Xander goes like this. You text like my girlfriend.
No, worse. Way worse. Not even comparable. Way worse.
He goes, yeah, these people are like this. This guy's got, I go, really? You think I can barely manage my own?
I send Silz one text in a Philly tone and my phone's ringing. Oh, what do you mean? What do you say? I'm like, relax, big guy. Relax.
Hey, you firing me? Hey, did you see Jared Verse say it today? He goes, hey, man, I saw 3 calls from Sean McVay. I thought they were firing me. He goes, no, ding dong. You made the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Xander.
He's going to get Rookie of the Year, right?
What's that?
He's going to get Rookie of the Year.
Yes, he's going to get it.
I got one last thing to say. I think
if Q had 4 picks, he'd have got it.
I have one last thing to say because this is the last time I'll be on this week on JAKIB Sports until obviously the pregame show on Sunday. Make sure you guys tune into that pre and postgame show here on JAKIB Sports. Looking forward to doing that. And closing out week 8. Can you believe it, man? I feel like yesterday me and you started our postgame show together. Week 18 this weekend.
Wow. I can't. I was thinking that same thing today when I was putting the show together. I'm like, man, it just shows you when you're having a great time, man, how fast shit goes.
All right. So I'll end it with this. I have yet to be given a reason, a good reason, to be convinced after a week now of debate, after a week of talking to you, of talking to John, of reading X and following Eagles Nation and listening to Philly 500's videos and listening to even some other Eagles YouTubers out there. Why can't we get both? Why does going for the record stop us from going to the Super Bowl? Why have we spoken about this whole thing like if you go for the record, you can no longer go for the Super Bowl? I don't understand. I understand the logic of someone saying you're trying to improve your odds and having your players healthy and rested improves your odds. Okay, that's viable. But why are we acting like if we put our players on the field, something they've done for 17 weeks straight now, we're going to miss out on the chance to win a Super Bowl? I don't understand why those two have been tied together. So with that, I'll say go and get the record and go and get the Super Bowl. Both. That's what every Eagle fan should be saying. Why do we want to shy away from either of those things? I don't want the record and not the Super Bowl. I don't want the Super Bowl. You know, Silz, I tweeted out, what's the only thing better than winning a Super Bowl, Silz? I'll give you a second to give me an answer.
Hall of Fame?
Setting an NFL record on your way to the Super Bowl. That's the only way to make it better, is to make NFL history on your way to the Super Bowl. Think about that. The only thing better than a Super Bowl win is doing it while making NFL history.
Well,
we're passing up that opportunity. I think it's a miss.
It is.
I think it's a miss.
So Crossing Broad just gave us credit for.
Well, I sent the story to Kevin.
Well, Kevin just posted it. He posted the video. And so this, hey, Xander, if that video's up by the end of the fucking show, by the end of the day, I'll be stunned.
What video? I'm not deleting nothing. They're going to have to get the Google Gestapo on me if they want me to take that thing down. They're going to have to threaten to take my entire channel and business if they want me to. I'm not deleting anything.
Holy shit. You are, hey, make sure you and Joe, hey, by the way, I don't know. I don't know why I get accused of starting fucking forest fires, but hey, thanks a lot, Xander, for everything. How you doing? If Derrick Henry runs for 250, Saquon will play.
Wait a second. All right, I got another question.
You
can't let me go yet. I got another question here.
Is that Baltimore game on Saturday?
Saquon Barkley has another incentive that's not only tied now to the playoffs, but he had a $500,000 bonus in there for leading the league in rushing. So are you telling me they're going to sit him and then Derrick Henry might pass him on the rushing list this year? Is that possible?
Yes.
Yes, they play tomorrow. Are they resting starters though?
That I don't know. But wait, no, they can't. Can Pittsburgh still catch him?
I think so. Pittsburgh is 10-6.
Okay.
They're 11-5. Although Ravens won the head-to-head.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait a second. How many yards does Derrick Henry have this year?
Let me see here. I think he's got 1,800 yards. I think he's got 1,792 or something like that. I think he's
1,783. Okay, he's far off.
Yeah, he ain't getting it.
He needs 230 yards.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're good. Think about that though. That would be a real shot in the face, a slap in the face. Now, here's what I will say. I'll also give Lurie credit. He typically does that for players if they do something like a couple years ago when they rested players, he gave them the bonus that they would have had from playing that game. So I think Lurie would probably make good on it, but still, it'll go down in NFL history as he was the second leading rusher in the NFL that year. And then Derrick Henry will steal the headline as the only running back to go over 2,000 yards twice in a season, or twice in a career.
Well, all I know is that Angelo's making the rounds right now, dog. Is
that why you're distracted over there?
You're not even paying attention. Are you kidding me?
Billy has got Twitter up.
Hey, that thing is so distracting. It's like someone has to take a piss. I mean, that's kind of distracting.
It's true. Hey. Well, we had a great week of shows, even through the new year and a snooze fest week because of the game this weekend. But we had some great shows. We had Philly 500 and Mark Holmes who were great yesterday. Philly 500, I'm going to give you credit because I thought you made maybe the best, most compelling case on YouTube for Saquon Barkley to play this weekend.
Yes,
and your video that you put up was excellent. Excellent. Absolutely. So make sure everybody goes and checks that out at Philly 500 channel. We love having him on here. He's a great dude and he's got a great channel.
Absolutely.
So well done, Philly.
I'm going to take a time out here, brother. I appreciate you, brother. I'll see you on the pregame.
You want to read these final two super chats real quick? Sorry. He says O-line deserved the rushing title.
Yep, they sure
And then
did.
He says, why not let him see if he can get the record? This is the healthiest he's been, plus he's played all the games. I agree.
Me too.
And then Brian Pumper says, you're not lying, Silz. I may hate her talking points, but boy, I would have Angel Reese. All right. I'm out. Come on, Pump. I mean, come on,
doing, Pumper? How you doing?
All right, Silz. Good stuff.
Right,
everybody,
man.
I love you all, man. Thanks for all the support.
You got it. All right, guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Philly Godfather coming right around the corner. Hit that like button. Keep it your National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.